Hi, and welcome to the School Health Educators Podcast, where we discuss health education and how to best teach health ed in the K 12 setting.
Hello, welcome to the School Health Educators Podcast. I'm your host, Lori Reichel. Today I have a guest who's going to talk a little bit about his philosophy regarding to getting to the heart of health education. So if you're looking for some inspiration to continue doing the wonderful job that you're doing with your children and youth, please continue to listen in. My guest's name is Dr. Steve Sroka. How did I do with saying your last name, Dr. Sroka?
You got it.
Excellent. Would you like to say hi to our audience?
Oh, everybody's good to see you.
And we are going to have this on the YouTube channel. So if you do want to see who this individual is, please go to the School Health Educators Podcast on YouTube. You'll see this. Dr. Sroka.
Wait a minute. I need to go put some makeup on.
Oh, you're beautiful.
Oh,
You're
okay.
beautiful inside and outside.
That's all that matters.
Would you mind telling us who you are and what your background is? And folks realize I don't know this individual. He connected with me through email because he started listening to the School Health Educators Podcast and heard some colleagues that he knew. So I think it's so great that I'm meeting you for the first time today. So who are you and what is your background?
Well, my name is Steve Sroka, and I'm really glad to be here because I think around the country, health education is the most important subject you teach, and we're getting beat up and they're getting rid of us. So I've got to make a stand for us. I'm going out there and saying, hey, we have to become cheerleaders for health educators out there today. I'm very strange. I'm a ghetto rat that now teaches in a medical school. And I tell my story to be inspirational, but my message is that we all can kind of do this, but we can't do it by ourselves, as we'll see here today. But basically, I grew up in the inner city. My dad took off, so I grew up with a lot of issues. As we were just talking before, Lori, I have a speech impediment. I couldn't even say my name in school. My name was Steve Sroka, and I called myself Mo because when I tried to say Steve, it was kids made fun of me. I got into a fight. I lived in the inner city and had no dad, and got a crossed eye. We couldn't afford glasses, and it was a mess growing up. And my proof is how tough it was. I have a report card. I failed the third grade. The teacher wrote on the top of the report card, parent notified boys retarded. They put that right on my report card. Now, the interesting thing about that is the teacher misspelled the word retarded. So that was kind of weird. And the point is when people say, how can you say that word today? I say, hey, retard doesn't mean stupid. It means like fire retardant. It's slow. I am slow because I am, as you can tell already from listening to me, ADHD, and I'm dyslexic. So I had a lot of problems in school. I could not compete academically. I tried to compete athletically, and I started to shoot the rock. And I'm from the city, so shoot the rock is playing basketball, okay? And I was pretty good, but they made a movie about me, White Boy Can't Jump. No, that's not.
Okay, there you go. Okay, what city? What city?
Cleveland, Ohio, from the
Okay.
streets. Yeah, and it's what happened is I was playing basketball one day, and I was probably a legend in my own mind at the time. And these two beat me up so bad, they knocked both of the bones out of my hips. And I went to the hospital. They said they'd never seen something like this. Obviously, there was a nutritional issue or something, but not both of my femurs were knocked out of the sockets. And they looked at me and said, you'll probably never even walk again. And the doctors came in and said, Steve, you better start to use your head because your body's not going to work. You better use your brain. I said, how can I use my brain? And the doctor said, well, I can't, I'm retarded. And the doctor looked at me, this is 50 years ago, and looked at me and going, it's time to get unretarded. I said, how do you get unretarded? He said, start listening to your teachers. And what I did is I had to see, I'm ADHD, so I see in pictures. When I present to people, you see a couple hundred pictures in 45 minutes because that's how my mind works. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Many of our kids are like that today, even more than ever because of social media. So I just kept working hard, and got some degrees. And I, it's very simple. I went from the projects to the National Teachers Hall of Fame. And I went out teaching. I taught 30 years in Cleveland schools. I taught in the city, and where it is tough. You got to, as the kids say, kick it with a little flavor out there, or it's not going to work. So I learned how to teach from the kids, not the professors, because many of the professors never kicked it where I had to kick it. And so today, even kids, people don't realize that the number one issue in teaching today is discipline. And they're going for content. If you can't kick it with a flavor, if you can't say it in the way the kids can understand, you can forget it out there today. So anyhow, I've been really, really blessed. I've spoken at every national conference you can speak to around the country. I've gone out of the country talking, and I've gotten awards which I probably don't even deserve. I'm in the National Teachers Hall of Fame, which I'm really proud of. I was a Disney Teacher of the Year, got an award from Cindy Crawford. I'm American School Health. I've got the highest award you can get from the American School Health Association. The American Public Health gave me this award, first ever public educator. I'm so blessed. But you know what? When I think about it, my real gifts, my awards have been, mine happened years ago, and my 6-year-old daughter said, "Dad, I think you're smarter than Inspector Gadget." Or when I have kids that come back after 50 years and come and tell me their story. In fact, if I can, I just had a 50-year reunion of my students 3 days ago. And Lori, I had kids came back that I haven't seen for 50 years. And we got together and we told stories, and I was their first sex education teacher, and we talked about that. And I think the most important message that came out to me, I asked some of the kids, what do you remember? And one of the kids basically said, I put this in the legal or educational jargon, we forgot all about the content and curriculum, but we never forgot about the kindness and caring. Or the way the kid said it to me is, we forgot all the facts, but we never forgot the way you made us feel.
Yes.
I think that is so important today. And here, why this is important. This is 50 years ago. These are kids that come in. So you're going to ask your kids, what are you really teaching them about life? And so, most of the concepts that I taught to, I was always trying to live I was trying to do all I could to keep our kids safe and healthy so they could learn more and live better. But the facts have all changed, but the feelings have stayed the same. And I think that's such an important message to teach educators out there. You have to be looking in somebody's eyes and feel that, when they get it, they get that aha moment. You can't. I'll tell you the truth, I hate doing podcasts. I hate this. I want to look at you in the eye. I want to be able to see what you're saying. And I don't know why, but, talking about getting to the heart of education, this is how it really started. Because we're all over the place. Okay.
So can I ask?
Because I'm a PhD.
Oh, no. And I want to make sure, because I know some of our listeners, they have a period of time that they listen in. And I think I looked at our stats, the average time is between 25 and 28 minutes. So I don't want to condense. Can you get to the heart of what your message is about getting to the heart of health education? Because your energy, right away, I feel comfortable with you. So you had to have been such a positive person for young people. So is that what getting to the heart of health education is for you?
Yes. Let me back up a little bit. When I go out to speak, my theme, which came from working with Native Americans or indigenous folks, is that you have the power, one, to start a fire, but you need the power, many, to keep that fire burning. Yeah. So in other words, we can all do a thing, but we got to work with other people. And the way you do this is trusted relationships. How do you get to the heart? Trusted relationships are the most important concept in health education, hardly ever addressed. You need the 4 C's to do this, to be it. First of all, it's communication. If you can't tell me what I just said, you don't know what I said. The second C is collaboration. You can't do it alone. I can't do it alone. Third C is culture. If you can't kick it with the flavor that the kids can hear, it's not going to work. And the fourth one is caring, because if you don't care about me, then I don't really care about you. But how this really gelled for me, I was kicking it in the inner city with some really rough dudes, and the dude come up after me. He said, "Man, you kind of get it." I said, "Well, I kind of know where you come from." And I go to shake his hands, and he grabs me and hugs me. And then he hugs me one way, then he hugs me the other way. And I said, "What was that?" He says, "That's a thug double hug. I said, why do you do that? He said, because the second hug is from the heart. And when I
Oh,
got
okay.
this when I got this from the street guy, I'm talking, this is really it. And then he was a smart ass kid, and he looked at me and go, and also I can see if you're packing or not, which was kind of cool. But here's the point right now. I just spoke to 1,500 nurses at a national conference in Orlando. I spoke for 75 minutes. If you can believe this, for 90 minutes, an hour and a half, nurses stood in line to give me a hug. And I
Oh.
just say that again, building this relationship to a person, getting
Hmm.
to the heart of education, where people want to come up and I think they just want to share their stories, as you just said before, that we can communicate out there and to
Hmm.
just hugging is. People say to me, but hey, Steve, you can't hug in this school. I go, wait a minute, if someone dies, do you hug? Oh yeah. I say, what are you waiting for? What are
Right.
you waiting for? Why can't we reach out to these kids because they're crying for help? And
Hmm.
people still don't understand that when kids act up in school, it's not they're trying to be bad, they're crying for help. But what do we
Right.
want to do? We want to incarcerate them rather than rehabilitate them. So I'm trying to deliver a message out there, and you got to get to the heart before you can get to the head. And I think that is so important out there today. And people don't get it. You got to go out there. You first of all, you got to be honest. And a lot of our teachers are not a lot of teachers, but a lot of the stuff we're teaching not really true. So the kids like honesty. You can't BS them. The second one is they like humor. They like to laugh a little bit, and
Hmm.
everybody likes to laugh. But the biggest one is we got to deliver hope. And now this is going to sound strange, but I tell kids, if you don't have hope, then there's dope. Because if you have hope, you don't need dope. And
Hmm.
so we've got to kick a message that at least people think out there. But I think going to the heart is the best way to get to the essence of health education.
As health education teachers start preparing for their new school year, because this episode is going to be released in August. So, as they're preparing for their new school year, what words of advice do you have for them? Like, how do they even prep to make sure they can get to the heart?
Well, the first thing is we forget. We always see we're talking about kids. We got to talk about teachers. Teachers. We
Mm-hmm.
got to take care of ourselves. We live in a rough world. No matter where you live, kids have crisis today. People move to get away, but there's more. I have more issues in working with suburban kids than inner city schools because out there you have access. You can hide behind your
Mm-hmm.
fences, lawns, and lawyers. That's a cruel
Right.
way to say it, but out there you can hide them. And many of these kids, I go and talk to them because they have to perform. They forgot the humanist. They're into the academics, not into the more humanistic education. So actually, I know we don't have a lot of time, but to let people know that if they really want to get into some of these points that I give to teachers, I wrote an article for K-12, which I ran, and also the American School Health Association. They ran it on their blog, and it's on my website, and anybody can use it and take it. But I make 7 points, if I can read them very quickly, and if that triggers somebody,
Absolutely.
these are the 7 things. The name of the article is kind of interesting. After 5 decades of teaching, 7 lessons my students taught me. My students taught me. So this is what you
Excellent.
do when you go. So I have 7 of them quick. Number one is some of them are going to be so obvious. Other ones they might want to think about. Number one is if students are not learning the way we are teaching, we must teach the way that they learn. That is so
Yep.
important out there because today, do all students learn the same? Of course not. Why do we teach them the same? And you say, but do you test all your students the same? How can you do that if they all learn differently? So we have to look at that one. That's deeper than it first sounds. The second ones are, and I mentioned before, students are crying for help and we punish them. These kids act up. They're calling for attention. They're calling for help.
Mm-hmm.
Many teachers think they're being bad. They're disrespectful. That's why the concept of the whole child is so important. It's just not the academic, it's the emotional, the social, spiritual. This is so important out there. And spiritual, I just want to throw this out today. I think 3 kids need the 3 F's of life to live well. They need a family that loves them unconditional. And you as a teacher might be that person. They need friends that are going to pull them up and not down. And they need a faith, a moral compass. I don't care what religion you are. As long as you don't want to kill me, we're cool. But kids need that out there today.
Yeah,
We
they
got
do.
to give it to them. Some students are invisible. We always look at the student that's doing well and the one that's not doing well. but some students never speak up and they're invisible. And I very quickly, I was on an Indian reservation talking. A young native youth walked up to me. This young lady said, "Can I have a card?" And yeah, and I gave her a hug, and she got back to me with the email in a couple of days and just said, "Thank you for coming here." I actually was thinking about killing myself, and that's a long story, but it'd make everybody cry now. I don't want to. But basically, her email to me was, "You must be the voice for kids like me who do not have the strength to cry for help." That's powerful. Because
That
a
is
lot of
very
times you think
powerful.
a kid is not saying anything and there's a whole
Yep.
much going on there. So sometimes what you see is not what you get. The fourth point is if you can't relate, nothing else really matters. Teaching is about relationships. Curriculum comes second. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, we've gone into what kind of teacher are you? Well, I'm a health teacher. Well, no, you're more than just a health teacher. But we got to go. Teaching is about relationships. And if you don't get to the heart, you don't get to the head. That's huge. Okay, I talk fast because I know everybody's almost to school already, right? And so number five, we tend to treat the symptoms and not the problems, which is often about mental health. We have kids, I like to say it this way, hurt people,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're a teacher or a kid. Our charge is to help people help people. So when we see these problems out there, um, we need to work with that. And almost all issues that I see in education come back to mental health. You know, we don't think about, we treat the symptom, not the disease. The disease
Right.
is mental health. That's why these kids have all these other issues. No one's quite looking at it that way. Number six, the students need the three F's and the three H's, and I already said what they are. They need family, friends, and faith, and they need honesty, humor, and hope. And I just want to say that facts are forgiven. And the last one is facts are forgiven, but feelings last forever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly how we said that before. 50 years later, the kids forgot the facts. They remembered the
The
feelings.
feelings.
And
Yeah.
that's what we have to do. And what I just said for teachers to tell their students, you should tell other teachers because we need to support one another. We need to become cheerleaders. Health education is being cut around the country. I can't even believe I'm saying that, but we
I know.
got to go out and become cheerleaders and tell people how important we are. And the best way we can do this is by doing the job as well as we can and instilling
Yes.
this intensity into the kids and saying, this stuff is important that I'm learning in health and here. Without health, you have
Mm-hmm.
nothing.
Yeah.
As we always say, health is your real wealth. You can't buy it, but you can earn it. And
Yeah.
education is powerful and lets you do it. And that's why us health educators are so important and that
Yeah.
all the other teachers ought to be thinking about what we're doing so they can do a better job of what they are doing.
Yeah. I think
And by
it's
the way,
interesting. I think it's interesting that we've had this push for SEL, social emotional learning, yet that to me is health education. I mean, start there and ask your health educators how things can be enhanced throughout the whole entire school or the district to support the whole child.
you're exactly right. You know, all these new concepts, if you see, I'm not getting old, I'm chronologically gifted. Okay.
Yeah.
All these things are coming back again. You know, the whole child. We talked about that concept 50 years ago. Health has never been more important, but we keep on fighting because somehow people don't see how important this is to them
Right.
till they have a problem and then they do something.
Yeah.
For whatever it's worth, I'm all over the country and world speaking. Next week I'm in New York City. I go to Houston. I go to Las Vegas. I'm in the Dells. I'm all over. And if anybody's listening, I'd love to see them out there and give them a thug double hug. We need to support one another. And what you're
We do.
doing, Lori, is so important because I taught the teachers that they're the only health teacher in the school. They're not, they need this kind of support and
They
working
do.
in a lot
Mm-hmm.
of areas out there. You know, people saying, well, in a rural area, isolated. I'm suggesting to you, you can be more isolated in an urban area because there's so
Mm-hmm.
much other stuff going on. So we all need to help. And the strength is
Yeah.
like you do have that power one to make a difference, but you need the power of many to keep that fire burning. And that's what I think. This is why what you're doing is so important out there. We've got to pump each other up. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's harder than ever, but it's never been more important than ever. So we need everybody out there doing the best they can because my whole punchline is basically this: we need to do all we can to keep our kids safe and healthy so they can live better and learn more. And I would just say, as a health educator, trying to convince the school boards is if you have a healthy child, they're going to be able to learn more. And
Right.
that's our real hook out there. A healthy child can learn more because as a principal, you're not evaluated today really on how healthy your kids are, but what are the test scores? Well, I'm going to say, you know what? I got something you can do that increases your health scores and also makes your kids live better. And again, the other approach I want to make here that people understand, we don't have school problems. We have community problems that take place in school. So we have to, as much as we can, bring in our outside resources, bring in our parents, bring in all the social agencies that can help us when kids need some help so they can better learn in school. They bring those problems into school every day. We're forced to deal with it. And, all of us went to school to teach content, not how to take care of social issues. And so that's why we need this total team. I think every health teacher ought to become the best friends with the school nurse, the school counselor, the school psych,
Yes.
all the
Mm-hmm.
agencies out there, because we can make it if we got the content of health, but we can't take care of a kid who's going through a severe issue in their home life or with themselves. And I don't know about your classes now, but people talk how bad it is. When I was teaching health in the inner city, no one else wanted to teach it. They doubled my classes. I had 88 kids in one class, 88 kids. And they always said I was a good teacher because I kept them quiet. And I said, keeping kids quiet is not good education.
No. So, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, perhaps to speak at an event or just to give you a thug hug, even through email, how do they get in touch with you? And would you even share your website information,
Oh,
please?
certainly. Oh, I mean, more than sure. I've written books. I've probably written 30, 40 books. But today, here's the problem with books. The people that need to read them can't afford to buy them. And the other people that buy them, I'm not sure what they do with them because um, I try to write down the most pertinent, relevant issues and post them on a blog or get them in like a K-12 dive or ASCD or something. So what I do is I post all my articles on my website. And I'm telling you, any of my articles I have on my website, they're yours because my
Excellent.
job is to help people. So if you just go to my website, which is just my name, drstevensoroka.com, you'll get it. Or if you just Google Power One Dr. Steve. Oh, by the way, the reason I'm the Power One is that's how I started. But what I didn't tell anybody is I died speaking. And I was speaking to 800 people about the heroin epidemic, about health issues. I died. I had a cardiac arrest. I died in front of 800 people, and the two SROs, principals, and other people in that school saved my life. And on that night, my message changed. See, my message usually, I put it on a shirt because people are very visual like me. I used to have this message, the power of one. Oh, sorry, the power of one. How one person can make a difference. After I died, it changed to the power of many. And if those other people weren't there, I would be dead today. One more good reason for health education out there and CPR and AEDs. I love health education because it gave me a second life.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to put links into today's description so people can contact you. And I have to let folks know that as I'm listening, I have been sitting back in my chair almost the whole time because these are words that remind me of who I am and what I do. So I thank you so much because I'm feeling the energy. I'm doing a lot of writing this month of I'm recording this in July, so I'm doing a lot of writing for a book for elementary school educators. So I so appreciate your positivity, everything that you're doing. Thank you so much. Would you like to say any last messages to anybody that's listening today?
Yes, we gave me my website and also my email address is drssroka@aol.com. And
Okay.
I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm in Instagram, I'm in X. But I'm kind of like here to help you because I'm not. I don't. People say you're an expert. I'm not an expert, but like in Indian culture, I'm an elder, and I have probably more scars than you, so I can probably tell you what's not going to work. I'm not an expert. I just feel I have many blessings, and I'd like to share them to make it easier for other people out there. Because no matter who you are watching this today, I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, we need you. We need you. and we need everybody, but we need you right now. So come on board.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And to our audience, remember, please continue to follow this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and check out the schoolhealtheducators.com and .org website. I have the both endings there. And also, as Dr. Steve Sroka just said, you make a difference. You are important. Thank you for doing what you're doing, and stay well, folks.
Can I leave one last message?
Absolutely. You can end this recording for them.
Okay, here's my message for today. Have a blessed day, unless you decide otherwise.